Hello everybody and welcome back to another Halo modding tutorial, and today we are going to be covering how to create a custom character for Halo. For Halo Custom Edition or MCC. Both should be the exact same for the most part. But you do require MCC for this to work, unfortunately. If you're using Custom Edition, you need MCC, but if you're using MCC, you just need MCC. We'll get to why that is later, but you have to have MCC because of shit. Yeah. But before we get started here, we're gonna be using Blender too. You can use Gmax as well, but this is for Blender because it's just a little bit easier to use. But yeah, you need Blender and you need the Halo Blender toolset, which is just an add-on. So I'm going to link several Blender videos. I'm going to link a how to install add-ons, although you could probably, that's pretty easy to figure out. So install and enable this add-on in Blender, and Blender's free on Steam, on the internet. I'm not going to link that. Just type Blender download into Google, you'll find it. And then get the tool set. And I will link the how to enable add-ons. I will link a basic rigging tutorial. And I will link a texturing tutorial because we have to do rigging and texturing in this. I'm not going to go very in-depth into either of those things. I'm going to focus on what you have to do in relation to Halo and why we're doing certain things. So if you don't know how to use Blender, if you don't know the basics, go watch all three of those videos because I'm not gonna go through exactly what I'm doing with Blender. I can't do a Blender tutorial and Halo at the same time. And most importantly, get your model. Create your own model. Like, rip it from a game, download it off of like Sketchfab or something. Just get your model and get it in Blender and make sure the Halo tool set is installed and enabled. So once you have all that done, you got your model. You got your model in Blender. This is just a little basic model I created in my many attempts to get this working. And the most important thing, I guess the starting thing is you want your guy, oh no, hold on, before that, you want to merge your mesh all up into one. If you downloaded a mesh or you ripped it from a game, it's probably going to be split up into several different meshes. Just merge all those together into one, and if it has an armature with it, delete that armature. You just want a mesh. Just leave your mesh. And just one mesh, not multiple. So get that done, and then select your mesh. You go down to the data tab, and make sure you're in object mode for this entire beginning part. Go to object mode, and then delete all the vertex groups by just clicking the negative sign. So get rid of every vertex group. You just want like a blank slate, just like this, because these vertex groups need to be named very specifically. And we're going to make our own rig, name the bones a specific way, parent it to this mesh, and then when we parent it, all of those bones are going to be done. They're going to be created as vertex groups. So we're going to save ourselves a ton of time when it comes to the vertex groups. And we also have to match the pose of a Halo skeleton we're going to import from MCC. So it's like killing two birds with one stone. We're going to rig the skeleton to this guy so we can have him match the T-pose. And when we parent the skeleton to the mesh, we're also going to get all these vertex groups if we named the bones correctly, which we will. So, with all that out of the way, we're going to start rigging this guy. Before you start rigging, before you do anything, make sure you're facing the Y like this, because we're going to symmetrize one side of the skeleton over to the other side once we're done with half, just to save ourselves more time, and you have to be facing the Y when you add your skeleton. So make sure you're facing the Y, and all this stuff is set up, and then you go to in object mode, add armature single bone. When you have your skeleton, I'm gonna call this the armature, the rig, I'm gonna call it all the skeleton, just to be clear. So when you got your skeleton selected, you want to go down to your data tab, select in front, and that's going to allow you to see the bone through the mesh, so it's easier to use. And then you can change how you see it. I like the B bone because that's how I saw the tutorial I watched. And we want to place this bone where the pelvis would be. About where the pelvis would be. Doesn't really matter too much. So just get that generally in the pelvic area. And then you want to select the skeleton, which is just your pelvic bone right now. Hit tab to go into edit mode. And then you see you get these two little balls. And basically if you have a ball selected and you hit E, it'll create a new bone and it's all connected like a skeleton. So you want to select this top bone right here. E. And we need to create a spine with, oops. Yeah, don't hit the middle mouse button, that fucks it up. We want to create a spine with about 5 bones. This is the pelvis. This is spine. This is spine 1. I could probably move that up a little bit. Yeah. That's spine 1. This is the neck. And this is head. And you have to do this very specifically. You have to do it just like I'm doing it. You're gonna have to do the exact number of bones, and you're gonna have to name it the exact way too. So once you do that basic spine, you don't have to place the bones exactly like I did, but you know, might as well make it look spine-like. But once you're done with all that, you select the ball in between the neck and spine 1, and we're gonna create the clavicle and the entire left arm. So you do the same thing. This is called the clavicle bone. This is the upper arm bone. This is the forearm, and this is the hand. All these names are going to come in handy later, and you can switch back between the Y and -X or just X, just to make sure your bones are all lined up, and this looks fine. And now, to create the leg, it's going to get a little bit weird. We're not going to go directly out from the pelvis, just because it's hard to make it go straight down. So we're just going to add... I'm going to do basically what the rigging tutorial I linked did. I'm just going to create a new bone. Select that. Make it like that. Make sure it's... in a good position. This bone is called the thigh bone, and then this is called the calf bone. And then, that's way off. I need to move this shit way down. Then we got the foot bone. And there we go, that's all the bones. Now we just need to symmetrize them over. But before we do that, actually, oh, wow, it didn't. Actually, I think it might have gotten fucked up, but if you're... Actually, it probably got fucked up, yeah, if it didn't... That bone should be disconnected, the one that I clicked. The thigh bone. That should be disconnected from the rest of the leg. But it wasn't for some reason, so I guess we'll just redo it and hopefully it's correct. Make sure it looks vaguely... Make sure the skeleton is just inside the body, I guess. Now, when we select this... There we go, it should be like that. Yeah, just to be safe, it should be like that. Then you delete that bone, you drag up the top of the calf all the way up here, you click on the bone itself, right click, subdivide, and now it's all connected. And now one last thing, we have to parent the thigh bone to the pelvic bone because we created a new bone, so it's not connected, but we need it all to be one skeleton still. So you select the thigh bone, shift click the pelvis, Control P, and then click keep offset, and you'll have a little dotted line just like that. And there we go. That's all the bones we need to create. Now we have to name them very specifically. And I'm going to do a lot of cuts because the naming gets tedious as all shit. And we have to rename it twice. Once to have it symmetrized, and then the second time to have the name of the vertex groups be correct. So I'm just going to run through. I'm going to say which each bone is named exactly, and then I'm going to do it, and then we'll move on. So each bone has a BIP01 in front of it. And then the direction of the bone, if it matters, and then that's it. So once we're done, this would be BIP01L foot, BIP01L calf, BIP01L thigh, and then the same exact for all these: hand, forearm, upper arm, clavicle. and then all these you don't need a L or R for the spine because it's in the middle. So pelvis, spine, spine 1, neck, and head. And now I'm gonna do it and just show you exactly how it should look. Actually, yeah, and for right now, for all of these bones, all the bones that have a directional thing, put a capital L at the end of it because we need that to symmetrize. But I'll do it quick and I'll show you. Okay, so here we go. Just renamed everything, and you want it to basically look like this. You want it to be BIP01 L, lowercase l if it needs to be symmetrized over, L for everything except the spine, and then you place a capital L at the end. And we're going to end up removing this capital L once you symmetrize it over. So just imagine every bone at the end of this is going to be the name of this bone. BIP01L hand. But just for the purpose of symmetrizing, we need to have this capital L right here. And we got the forearm, the upper arm, the clavicle, and then for all the spine, there is no direction marker. So head, neck, spine 1, spine, pelvis, thigh, LL. All right. So once you have all that done, you need to... Once you have all those named correctly, you need to select all the bones we need to symmetrize over, which are the entire leg and the entire arm. So not everything but the spine. So you select all that. You select armature up here. You click symmetrize, and boom, it symmetrizes just like that. And as you see, we have a clavicle R. So that was the purpose. That was the purpose of the that end letter. And actually, right now, what I usually do is I remove these letters at the end for every bone, and then I change all the bones on the right side. I change the lowercase l to a lowercase r. But if you do that, you're not able to symmetrically pose your guy. So if we go back to object mode, select the mesh, select the skeleton, go to pose mode. If we do this, okay, so I'm retarded. Never mind. All right, completely ignore that. Yep. Wait, yeah, I didn't even parent it. What the fuck am I talking about? Oh yeah, I'm completely off. Yeah, never mind. Yep. So now we need to rename all these bones, except the spine. We don't need to touch the spine again. That's named perfectly. So we need to remove the big letter at the back, and then for all the bones on the right side, we need to change the lowercase l to a lowercase r. I'll do that quick and show you. Oh, by the way, to rename bones, you hit F2 to bring up this bone name, and then you just hit enter when you're done. Okay, so all these names that we're gonna see right now should be the final names. BIP01 pelvis, BIP01 spine, BIP01 spine 1, BIP01 neck, BIP01 head. For the left and right, the only thing that's gonna change between them is this little letter. So BIP01R clavicle, BIP01R upper arm, BIP01R forearm, BIP01R hand, BIP01R thigh, BIP01R calf, and BIP01R foot. And I think I should move these down just a tad. Yeah, move those down. So there we go. That's our entire skeleton done. And now we need to parent the mesh to the skeleton, or the other way, whichever one. I don't remember which, but we need to parent these two with automatic weights, and that is what is going to create our vertex groups for our mesh right here. Let's create all the vertex groups for the mesh, and each vertex group is going to correlate with a bone name. So we'll do that quick. So to parent, I think we select the mesh first. Select the mesh, shift click the skeleton, Control P. Yep, yeah, you select the mesh, then skeleton, and then you do with automatic weights, and just like that. If you get an error with automatic weights, there's several different things you could do with that. You could add a weld modifier, you could add a decimate modifier, you could, in edit mode for your mesh, you could select all your vertices and then hit F to like fill any holes that might fuck things up. But that's kind of fucky. If you have problems parenting the two together with automatic weights, that's more of a Blender thing. I don't know how to help you with that. I've had trouble with that. That's why I created an incredibly simple dude, because it's easier to use and way quicker for the purpose of this tutorial. So there we go. And you see in the modifiers tab for the mesh, you got the armature now, your armature. So these guys are parented now, and when we try and pose this guy like I did before, the mesh will move with the skeleton. So I think we're actually gonna, based off how this moves, I'm gonna need to change things a little bit, because the clavicles are almost always fucked. Oh no, it's not fucked this time. Okay. Well, it's a little bit down here, but usually the shoulder is way more fucked up with that movement. But yeah, oh yeah, you select the mesh, shift click the skeleton, go to pose mode, then you select a bone, and then you can rotate it and pose them. So, yeah, technically we need to move on to the next step right now, but I'm going to talk about editing vertex groups right now. So we're going to go out of here, we're going to select the mesh, which is now under the armature. Go to data, and this is where you have all your vertex groups. And actually, you can remove 3 of these. You can remove the neck and both clavicles. So get rid of the neck, get rid of the left clavicle, and get rid of the right clavicle. And there we go. That's all the vertex groups we need, named perfectly for Halo. And I need to edit the upper arms, so I'm just going to go through this quick. So to edit a vertex group, you go to your mesh, go to data tab, select the vertex group, hit tab, then you'll see all the vertices pop up, and you'll see all these buttons, and you can select, and this is basically showing you what vertices the bone is controlling. So all these vertices are BIP01L upper arm has control of all these vertices when it moves, and it's a bit much. So yeah, and whenever you're editing vertices, go up here, click this button, and make sure this is checked. So it's easy to see, and you can see through the entire mesh, so it's really, really easy to see every vertice. So yeah, we got a bunch of vertices to clean up. And if you only want to remove vertices from a vertex group, always click remove before you do anything. So click remove. I didn't do anything, so click remove when you have it selected. And now you hit control, and then you can lasso select. You can hit W to change your selection type. I think I'm just stuck on lasso, which is fine. But you hold control to remove stuff, and you hold shift to add stuff. So we're going to remove a lot of this because it's completely unnecessary. So once you remove all the stuff you want, or all the stuff, that looks good. Yeah, that looks good. Once you're done with all that, you click assign, deselect, select, make sure everything's still assigned. Make sure the correct stuff is assigned when you select it again. So everything works. And now I'm going to go do the other upper arm quick. Okay, so there we go. We got the the right upper arm the exact same as the left upper arm. So now when we pose the upper arms, his I guess lats won't move as much or at all really. So now go back to object mode. Oh, go back to this mode or whatever. What's that called? Viewport shading. Just to, I guess, you can stay in whatever mode you want really, but this is just easier to see stuff. So now he's ready to pose. And now comes the important part and the big difference between MCC and Custom Edition. So, when you have all your Halo tools, when you have the Halo add-on enabled, you'll have all this shit over here, by the way. And you can open this thing with N. I should have said that at the beginning, but yeah. If you have your Halo stuff enabled, you'll see these Halo tools, all this shit. And, most importantly, when you go to import, you'll see you can import a Halo tag. We're going to import a GBX model. And this is where you need to decide which model you want to use. I'm going to use the Marine, but everything I've done so far should work with the cyborg model as well, the Master Chief model. But I'm going to use the Marine just because it's more complicated. So, you go to MCC. Make sure you're using MCC, otherwise shit's gonna get weird. Go to tags, characters. I'm gonna be using Marine Armored, and then you just find the GBX model and you import that tag. And I think my guy is perfectly sized, but if your guy is like really, really small, you just need to scale him up. Hit S and scale him up. Actually, yeah, look at this. Look at the scale right here. We're at 23. So my guy's already scaled up because I think that's how it was when I saved the previous one. But we'll apply those scales later. Actually, like right now. So as you can see, a little bit fucked up. He's facing the x-axis, which we need to meet this guy. We don't want to touch the skeleton. We want to meet this guy. And I think we can get rid of, we can just delete his, whoa, we can just delete his mesh. Not yet. I think we should pose first. So, yeah. So you want to select, yeah, we're going to apply all these transformations right here, just so we're working with a fresh thing when we go to rotate. Because otherwise it's going to be fucked up. But if I try to do a -90 right here, it's going to be weird. Yeah, yeah, he's slightly off the center, so we need to apply all these. We need to apply all of these transformations. So in object mode, you select your armature, you go to object, apply, and then you can do all transformations, and that'll set all this to 0 and the scales to 1. So it's it's like a fresh slate. And now when we do a -90 rotation, he's perfectly square, or perfectly set up, whatever. And actually, we'll apply that rotation again. Yeah, just apply that again so it's all perfect. And now we just gotta all we gotta do really is raise this guy's arms. Jesus Christ, if you rigged your own skeleton, if your own mesh is in a different pose, you might need to move the legs a little bit, you might need to move whatever, but all I need to do is move the arms up. And unfortunately, since we renamed all this stuff, we can't pose, we can't symmetrically pose. So we're gonna basically have to copy numbers over and inverse them to get the correct pose we need. But luckily, I only have to do that for like one bone, the upper arm bone. So you go back into pose mode, select mesh, shift-click skeleton, pose mode, and now we just click the upper arm, move this up, have his arm match. It really, for this, I'm not gonna get too precise. It really doesn't matter too much. Looks like, yeah, his hand is a little shorter. That's not too big of a deal. Looks like everything works. And now, unfortunately, it didn't pose over. It didn't mirror over. So I believe when we're editing on the x-axis like this, we want to inverse the z. So in the rotation right here, we'll save. We'll select this. We'll copy this. Copy the -0.34. Go over here. Paste that. Get rid of the negative because it needs to be inverse. And then that's the only one. After that, you can just directly copy the rest of this. So copy that and paste it to his x. Take that, copy that, and paste it right there. And now it's symmetrical. And luckily, my arms are pretty straight, but for each bone you do that, for each bone that you... can I move the damn thing? Oh my god, holy shit. Uh-oh. No, stop. Oh my god, here we go with the fucking blenderisms. Oh my fuck. Okay. Dude, I swear to Christ, it wasn't a blenderism, that was a mouseism. Jesus. Okay, reset the damn mouse cursor. Holy fuck. Sometimes I hold down the middle mouse button, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work, and it triggers me. But, there we go, we're all perfectly posed up. And, if you have to pose more than one bone, just repeat that exact process. The only thing you should need to inverse when you're posing like this is just the Z. You just need to inverse that. Actually, you can probably figure it out. You'll need to inverse one of these, but the rest should be the exact same. Okay, so now we have a little bit of a problem, because when we go into object mode, we select our mesh, we go into object mode. The pose is fucked up when we go into edit mode, because that's not technically, this is not his resting pose. We posed him, but it wasn't the starting pose, so we need to change that. And the way we do that is you go to your mesh, you go to your modifiers tab, where your armature is, where your armature modifier is. You click this little button, you click duplicate. Now it's going to be really fucked up. You apply the first armature, the original one. You apply that. Then select your mesh, select your skeleton, go to pose mode, click pose, apply pose at rest position, and boom, there we go. That's his resting pose now. So when we go back to object mode and we select the armature, we hit tab, no change, because that's the new resting pose. And now we just delete this rig because we got the names out of it, we posed it correctly, we're done with this. So go to your mesh, get rid of that, shift and drag your mesh out of there, and there we go, just like that. And now for the marine armature, we want to delete everything that does not have a hashtag in front of it. So we need to delete all this mesh, just like that, and it's our guy on that skeleton now. And as you can see, we have a ton of these things. These are markers. The custom edition skeleton, when you import a GBX model from custom edition, it does not have these markers. And even if you add them and parent them correctly, it fucks up the arms. For some reason, as of right now, I might be able to find a way to work around it, but as of right now, even if you create markers, even if you parent them correctly to the bones, it still doesn't work. So you have to use MCC because it starts with the markers, everything's perfect right now. So that sucks. That's like the one area where MCC has an advantage over custom edition, but luckily we can still use this in custom edition. So there's a bunch of unnecessary markers here. All we need are a body marker, a head marker, left and right hand markers, and left and right foot markers. So we're going to get rid of all the extras. So get rid of all those, that, and that. And we don't need to touch the markers at all. You can move these hand markers in a little bit if you want. Move them out, move them in. You don't really need to move them too much. But we're vaguely attached to the skeleton, and that's really all that matters. Again, this is just a basic tutorial. You can min-max this shit later. I'm just trying to get this information out. So now you select your mesh, and now you shift and drag it into the armature, just like you did when you dragged it out. Drag it in. And if you really want to, you can go to your modifiers tab for your mesh, armature, and then apply that armature. I don't think that's necessary, but better safe than sorry. Now, we have to, if you're doing the marine, because as of right now, you still have a choice. You can still do the cyborg, or you can still do the marine. If you're doing the cyborg, you do have to delete one bone. You have to go all the way into head here. You have to delete this ponytail bone because Master Chief doesn't have that bone. So if we want to use Master Chief, delete that. But I'm gonna do the marine, which is a bunch of extra steps. But I think I'll do a quick shit. I guess I'll try and do both walkthroughs at the same time. So if you want to do Master Chief, delete that ponytail bone. You have to select the skeleton, go into edit, then select the ponytail, delete it there, and then you're done. If you want to do the marine, don't delete anything. So now we have to set up face maps. And Master Chief, the cyborg face maps are unbelievably easy. All you do, you go to your mesh, you go down to data tab, You go down to face maps. You add a face map. You do cyborg, like that. You go into edit mode. You hit all. Whoa, what the fuck? Oh, I was in the wrong thing. You hit all, select all vertices, and you assign all vertices to this cyborg face map. Boom, done. For marines, it gets a little bit more complicated. We have to split this mesh up into. That's like the second dumbass fly. What the fuck? You have to split this mesh up into 4 separate sections. Into a head mesh, into a torso mesh, arms mesh, and legs mesh. So we're gonna do that now. We are in edit mode. Go back to this so you can see all the ooh, I hit control something. Okay, hopefully it didn't fuck anything up. Go back to edit mode, make sure you can see through all this stuff. And we are going to select all this. Oh, no, we're not. We are going to select all of this. This is going to be the head mesh. All that's selected. When you have all those vertices selected, hit P, you click selection, and you have a new mesh right here. And we're just gonna name this head. You don't have to name the mesh, but it's just easier to remember. Go back to object mode, select this again. Now we're gonna do the arms. So the arms, I believe, are right here. And then it's all part of the arm, the hand, the forearm, everything. So you select, and it has to be both arms, not just one, both arms. And the same thing for the legs as well. So select all that. All that. And you do the exact same thing. P, selection. Arms. Back to object mode. Select the basic mesh again. Oh shit, what the fuck? Uh-oh, I missed it. What the hell? Oh shit. Okay. Undo, 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 undo. How the hell did I fuck that up? That's interesting. I'm not sure how that happened. I'm not sure how I missed those vertices. I'm in X-ray mode and everything. Looks like everything's selected. Okay, let's try it again. P, selection, arms. Okay, there we go. Looks like it's fixed. Now we do the all legs. I think we'll select these ones right here, and then everything below that. Let's go up one more. Nah, we'll stay down here. Doesn't really matter. As long as it's close, it shouldn't really matter. P, selection, and legs. I probably could have cut all that out, but whatever. And now we'll rename this mesh to torso. And now we're going to go back through each one of these and apply the correct face maps. So for your torso, you select the torso, you add it, you name it torso, and then you add all those vertices to the torso by going to edit mode, selecting all, assigning. It's the same exact type of thing as the vertex groups. So I'm gonna go do that for the head, arms, and legs quick. All right, so for the arms mesh, you just do arms for the face maps, and these face maps have to be named this specifically, just like this. And all those are all the vertices that are assigned to it. The head face map, all those vertices are assigned to it. The legs and the torso. So you get the point. So now, I think that's just about it for the all this type of stuff. And if you did the markers need to have the face maps as well. And if you did the Halo toolset, it has the Halo regions down here. If you imported the skeleton from MCC, then all the face maps for the markers should be fine. You shouldn't need to do anything with those. And as you can see, torso, head, legs, arms. So it's the exact same names as all this stuff. So there we go. Now we need to, all the meshes, all the stuff that you added face maps to, you need to select all of that. You go down to Halo Tools. You open up Halo Convert Face Maps. Click that. And down in the Halo regions, you just get a new face map. And just to make sure it all worked properly, you can go into edit mode and you can select it. Make sure it's selectable, just like everything else. So deselect, select. This is the Halo regions one. So if that works, I assume the rest work. I did get a weird error with that one time. That might be because vertices are overlapping. But if you split up your mesh like this and then just assign all vertices from one mesh to one face map, you shouldn't run into any problems like that. There we go. That's all the Halo face maps. That's the Vertex group setup. I think all we got to do now is just the texture, and then we got to go do a bunch of configuring in Halo. There's not too much configuring in Halo, or I guess in the files of Halo. So now in order for all these face maps to work, you do have to separate them out first. But now that we created all the face maps, we can join all these pieces of mesh together again, and it'll still work, even if you have multiple face maps. And if you're doing the cyborg, all this will be one face map, just cyborg face map. So you don't need to separate it out, don't need to do anything. So the reason I'm gonna merge all these together is because I only want to use one texture just to keep this brief as possible. So we're gonna do all this. Make sure your cursor's out in here. Control J, merge that all up into one. Actually, you do have to convert face maps again because the only Halo region face map will be the one that it merged into, which is all the arms. So you just click that again, and it'll do this because all the face maps, they all merge together, but the Halo regions don't. So just click convert face maps again. That should work. Now we do the texture, and that's the last thing before we export. And the texture, I'm gonna be incredibly lazy with the texture because I don't give a fuck about textures. Actually, so first, before the texture, before we apply it in Blender, we have to create our own directory here. So you go to your Halo directory, custom edition, MCC, whichever. Go to your data folder, create a characters folder if there isn't one already, characters, and then you create your character name. So this is gonna be video. This is gonna be called video. This guy's gonna be called video. You do the name of the character, then you do a bitmaps folder, just like that. And now you get whatever texture you want to apply. I'm gonna apply some basic ass texture. I'm gonna go get a picture real quick. All right, so you have your picture in here. Open it up. It's a PNG. It can be anything. You should probably use paint.net for this. I assume you'd use paint.net. But you open it up. This is just my background, basic ass weird shit, and we need to save this as a .tiff file, TIFF. But before we do that, we need to resize it to 1000 by 24. To 1000 by 24 because that's the only size file the compiler can read. So we'll do that, and now we save as, and we just do as a TIFF. And this is gonna be what is this gonna be called? Armacam TIFF. So you save it as that in the bitmaps folder you created. So we have Armacam TIFF right here. And you're going to need to remember that name, Armacam TIFF, or whatever you name your TIFF file. So now we go back into Blender quick. You go, when you have your mesh selected, go down to material right here, add a new material, name it your file name, Armacam. Did I spell that right? Yeah, okay. There we go. And then when you create your material and name it, you go down to your base color, you click this yellow button, you do image texture, and when you do that, if you click the viewport shading right here, and if your guy is all black like this, you're on the right path. And then you go back here, you go to open, and then you just navigate to your TIFF file, which should be in your Halo directory, either custom edition or MCC, data, characters, video, bitmaps. There we go. And that worked out better than I thought. Look at that, red arms. It's not bad, and an entirely red back. Yeah, most textures look like complete dog shit, but that one actually worked. All right. So there we go. That's just applying the texture. It's a garbage texture, but this is just a basic tutorial. I'm gonna link a. There's a way you can literally get a. Fuck, I don't know what it's called. It's basically your character spread out into a 2D thing, where that you can really get some cool textures if you fuck around with that. But this is just a basic texture thing. I'm gonna link that video. It's just a Blender tutorial. So there we go. I think that we're good. That's it. The material name matches the file name. So yeah, we're good. We're all good. So now we go to File. Oh, before we do this, go to your character name in the data directory, and then create a models folder. Models, I believe models, or model. Yes, models. So, damn it. Video, models. And now we export to that folder. So, back to Blender, File, Export, Halo jointed model skeleton.jms. Go to your directory, data, whoa, what the fuck? Well, I clicked name, data, characters, video, models, uncheck generate checksum, make sure all this stuff is checked. I think all you should need to do is uncheck generate checksum. And you have to make sure all this stuff is checked down here. Triangulate, use loop normals, all this stuff, because otherwise it's going to be all fucked up in Halo. And we're going to name this guy video. Export the JMS. Export successful. If there's an issue with exporting the JMS, shit, I haven't run into many issues with that. I don't know. But that should work if you followed this perfectly. And if your character is really, really complex, you might run into some fucked up issues. You can do the import fix-up. Oh yeah. If you have trouble, you select your mesh and then do the import fix-up. That should allow it to export much easier. That's for much more complicated models. Mine is incredibly simple. But there we go. Now we're done with Blender. So go to your and you have your JMS right here. So now what we have to do, we have to build the bitmaps, and then we have to build that model with tool. And the commands should be the exact same for custom edition MCC, just like everything else. So open your command prompt in your Halo directory. The first we have to build the bitmap. So tool, bitmaps, characters. Oops, I spelled that wrong. Char actors. The name of your character, video. Mine is video. And then bitmaps, the bitmaps folder. And it should be 1000 by 24 by 1000 by 24. Bitmap created. 1000 by 24, 1000 by 24. That's fine. There might be other sizes that you can work with, but they have to be very specific. But 1000 by 24 seems to be the only one. So there we go. We have our bitmaps built, and if we go check it out in the tags folder, go tags, characters. It's basically the same director. It's the same directory, but it's in the tags folder. And video right here, bitmaps, and we have our bitmap. And now we do tool, model, characters, and then just your character name. So mine would be video, characters, / video. Hit that. And don't worry about degenerate triangles. Not sure what the hell those are. You might, if you care, again, if you, depending on how complex your character is, you might run into problems. But you will run into this. This is asking to define what the Armacam material is. And for just about anything, when you're making models, it will be a shader model. So you hit 2, enter, it will fail. Run the same command again. Boom, model created in the same exact place. Tags, character name, or tags, characters, character name, and then models. And that's going to be a GBX model. Video. Oh no, it's just in the character's name. Never mind. Oh yeah, there's no models for the tags. Okay, whatever. So there we go. We have our GBX model. Perfect. And just to make sure this works, just to make sure the face maps work, drag your GBX model into Gorilla. And regions, arms, head, legs, torso. Those are the 4 regions you need to match the Marine's animation graph and collision geometry, which are things we're going to get to very shortly. But first, we're going to, if you're using Custom Edition, we're going to do this. If you're using MCC, there will already be a shaders folder, and that's where that shader model tag will go. Shaders. We're going to create a shaders folder in here if you're using Custom Edition in your character folder, and then go back to tags, and you'll see armacam.shader model. That was when we tried to model our guy the first time. That was the tag that it created. So we'll just cut and paste that in here. Oh, nope. Into the shaders folder, and we'll have to redefine that later. But now we're going to go snag some files from the Armored Marine, the guy we copied, or whoever you're copying. We have to do 2 files only. So we go to tags, characters. I'm going to go to Marine Armored. We need the biped and the model collision geometry. Copy those files. Video, paste, rename them. Actually, I don't think you actually need to rename them. Oh shit, I just renamed both at all. Oh, okay, that works too. I don't know how I renamed both. But there you go, I rename all those copied files. And now you don't have to edit. You do have to edit the GBX model. For Custom Edition, you have to edit the GBX model because when it comes to shaders, it's looking for that shader that was in the tags folder originally. But we moved it to the shaders folder here. But if you're using MCC, it'll automatically move it here. So down to shaders, and then you just go find your shader. So characters, video, shaders, that shader right there. Save it. And that's all for the GBX model. Now the biped, this is where I have to change, I think, a few things. So the model, we want to use our GBX model. So you go navigate to that, video.gbx model, the animation graph. Leave that the same. That's the Marine animation graph. And for the character you based, remember when I said you could delete the ponytail bone if you want to do the cyborg or the Marine? Depending on which you did, you have to use that character's animation graphs and stuff. So if you deleted the ponytail bone and you used the cyborg regions, the cyborg face map, you have to grab the collision geometry and the biped from the cyborg folder, not the Marine Armored folder. But I did the Marine because I didn't delete. I did all the face maps and I didn't delete the ponytail bone. I'll explain that a little bit more later. This is the collision geometry. You might be able to just leave this as the Marine one, but I already copied it, so why not? So there you go. That's all that copied over. You don't need to edit. You really don't need to edit any of this stuff if you really don't want to. Only these 2, the model and collision model. And maybe not even the collision model. So there you go. Save that. And now you don't need to touch collision geometry. And now just to make sure our shader model is working, you go open up your shader model. Base map right here, click that, and then you go navigate to your bitmap. So back, bitmaps, and you make the Armacam bitmap the base map. And save that. And now we're ready to go into Halo. But I think I'll talk about the whole thing of files. So let's just do a demonstration. So this is the GBX model. This is based off of the Marine. And then this is basically the Marine's collision geometry. So as you can see with the GBX model, we got all the nodes here. These are all the bones we named. All of them. The clavicles too. And then we got the regions, all the face maps we did, all the markers for the specific regions. When you go to the leg region, it's the feet. You get that? So basically all those have to match. And yeah, see, ponytail, the cyborg is not going to have a ponytail bone. So if we go to cyborg quick, cyborg.gbx, we go check this out. It's all the exact same bones, except there is no ponytail bone. So if we were to use the cyborg biped, actually no, we'll open the cyborg biped real quick, because all these bones, they show up in the exact same way. I believe, or that might be the collision model. Yeah, that's wait. Ooh. Yeah, that's the collision model. And the animation graphs are the exact same too. So we'll open the cyborg collision model. And yeah, so the regions have to be the exact same. They have to match. And all the nodes, all the bones have to match as well. So that's why I used the Marine collision geometry. Because if I used the cyborg one, it won't be collidable and it'll give me an error in Sapien. So just make sure all your nodes match, all your regions match between your GBX model and your collision geometry, and you use the correct model animations. Because again, if I assign my biped, the video biped, if I assign that model animations to this, it won't work, because the GBX model is using the Marine stuff and the collision model is using the Marine stuff. So they all have to match. But now we're gonna just load our guy up in Sapien, and that should be it. Definitely low quality, because doing this over and over and over again, or getting it working perfectly, would be a pain in the ass. And also, I'm using very few vertices, so you know it's easier for things to look contorted when you have like 10 vertices versus like 100. But open Sapien, and we just have the biped. But I guess I'll show how to do an active variant. I think you can open the globals. You can open the globals folder in Gorilla and change the player model to your biped. So, we're just gonna add the biped in here just to show that it works. Go to edit types, biped, add, find your biped. So ours is video biped, video.biped. Add that tag. Hopefully I didn't fuck anything up. I've done this so many times. This is about an hour long. No errors, that's good. Add a biped, and look at that. Look at that. It's a bit fucked up, but you know, whatever. Yeah, a bit fucked up with the shoulders there. Bit fucked up with the leg right here, but that's probably just a byproduct of yeah, I didn't edit any of the Vertex groups anyway. But there we go. So what would happen? What would happen if we used the custom edition skeleton and added our own markers in? What would happen is he'd be holding his gun in a really fucking weird way. Like it'd be facing up, and we'd be seeing like the side view of it right now, facing up. Like imagine this rotated up. Imagine this rotated up here, and it's facing this way. It's completely fucked. I don't know why it's only the arms either, and the fact that it's only the that it's only the arms makes me think I can fix it somehow, but I haven't found a way yet. But that's why we have to use the MCC model. The MCC GBX skeleton model. Because, yeah. And if you do use custom edition, it's not going to give you any errors. Like, if you do everything right, it won't give you any errors until the very, very end right here, where he'll be holding it like a weirdo. But yeah, there we go. That's how you get a custom character, custom model into Halo. And if you want to create a actor variant, you would just copy the actor variant. Whoa, whoops. Just copy the actor variant over, and you just change the biped right here. The unit, it is I think all actor variants are bipeds, and then you would just change the biped to your biped, to video.biped in this case, and you obviously copy this, you rename it, and yeah, and then that'll be an AI. And you got so many fucking settings in all these Gorilla files, it gets a little bit crazy. Now for the I haven't actually looked how to do the globals thing. There should be a I totally spelt that wrong. Globals. Default HUD globals. What happens if we go in here? Globals. Globals.globals. I think this is the file you need to change the player model. I believe. Ah, here it is. Here's the multiplayer one. Oh, and the single player one, I think. Player information. And you would just change this biped to your biped, to video.biped. And if you want to do multiplayer, it'd be multiplayer as well. So, yeah. That's how you would change the actual player model. And you could probably just change this to like a fucking Marine or an Elite or whatever, really. So that'd be pretty cool. You got first person hands right here. Yeah, so you'd still see yourself as Master Chief holding a gun if you don't change this, but when you died, if you change the bipeds of the multiplayer information and the player information, when you died, you'd see yourself as an Elite. And you might even make Elite noises when you get shot. I'm not sure how that works entirely, but there you go. So you can create bipeds, you can create actor variants, you can change your player model, all with the biped, the custom model, which then is used from the biped, or whatever. So yeah, there we go. Hopefully that made sense. That was a lot. That was a fuck of a lot. Most of it wasn't even in Halo. Most of it had to do with Blender. Yeah. If there's any questions, I'll probably do my best to answer, but when it comes to questions about this shit, it's very, it's very hard to hone in on the specific issue, because like there could be so many things that go wrong. There could be several things wrong, there could be one thing wrong, so I'll probably do my best. I might just make a video for every fucking problem somebody has, because it's just way easier than typing it out. It's way easier to show rather than tell. But yeah, that's going to do it for this. Hour 4 minutes. Hopefully that helped. Hopefully that got your model in. Hopefully you can edit the Vertex groups all you want. Mess around with those to make your guy not look fucked up when he's in Halo like mine was. The shoulders were kind of fucked, and I think his right leg was a little bit screwed up. But I could just add a bunch more vertices to make the change look less drastic. But who knows? Yeah, I think that's all I got for now. So, if you made it here, thank you for watching. If you watched any of my other stuff, thank you for watching that as well. And I will see you in whatever I decide to do next time. So thank you for watching.